What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you're now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. You click it, become a member. All you got to do is try, recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. So click the link. Now, with that being said, we are here today to review Morbius 2021. Sony finally released it. Jared Leto finally has his chance to become something good, right? But does he make it happen? But before we go into that, let me go ahead and give you guys a quick synopsis. Morbius is a anti-hero, from what I know about him from the Marvel comics. I've never really knew of him as a solo character, a standalone character. I've always known him as somebody that teams up with characters, more specifically Spider-Man. I wasn't, when Sony announced that they were going to make a Morbius movie, I was kind of iffy about it because I'm like, well, Morbius is kind of like a team up character. I'm not really familiar with his solo work. I wasn't sure if he would have anybody that he can compete with or any actual villains or like people that he beefs with. I wasn't aware of anybody that he like his arch nemesis and all that good stuff. But alas, here we are. This movie's been pushed so many times, and after watching it, I really don't understand why it was pushed so much. They should have just released it when they released it, because I honestly feel like them pushing it outward made people lose a lot of interest in watching the movie because it felt like the hype train was dying. I think they really should have just went ahead and released it right after Spider-Man and allowed people to watch it when everybody kind of had that hope that the Sony superhero trend was going in like a good direction. Because now Morbius has kind of been in light in recent news, and it hasn't been in a positive manner. A lot of the reviews, a lot of the early screenings that came out, a lot of people were dissing and saying this movie was trash. And me personally, after viewing it, I really feel like a lot of people are just jumping on the hype train, and when they see a Rotten Tomatoes score, or they see like one of their favorite YouTubers say a certain thing, then they're gonna want to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon. But I'm here to do something different. I'm gonna give you my opinion now. Am I gonna praise this movie? No, but I'm going to give you the honest truth. I'm not gonna bullshit you. This movie is directed by the dude that did Child 44. What is his name? Daniel Espinosa. Right. This movie stars Jared Leto, Matt Smith. Who else? Some Adriana Arjona, Tyrese Gibson. And the list goes on. Michael Keaton's in it. Obviously, you guys have seen that because you've seen the freaking trailer, right? Also, the trailer then gave away things that were taken out of the movie, which I found kind of weird, but whatever. I mean, I feel like it kind of, that stuff that they took out made the movie flow a little bit better. I felt like it would have been a little bit weird watching the movie, after watching the movie, and you see that some of the things that were said and done in the trailer, how they kind of probably were better off taken out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. One of the positives about this movie is that the score is freaking amazing. That main theme for Morbius is epic. The title screen, the colors, the visuals in the movie, that's also really good. And I'm actually here to tell you, like, a lot of people are shitting on Jared Leto, but I'm here to tell you that Jared Leto does a fucking good job. I don't know much about Morbius. Like I said, I know of him from the Spider-Man animated series. I know a little bit about like his little comic book past because I was like really into like collecting cards and looking up information about characters. And Morbius obviously was one of those characters that I ran across. I wasn't no pro, no professional, no like, specialist in Morbius, but I know a little bit about him. So watching this movie, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air because I actually got to see this man on the big screen. The title card was good. Jared Leto did good despite whatever the hell everybody's talking about. He did a freaking amazing job. And the story was okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying the story was okay is because after watching this movie, you really feel like it needed more time. What's the runtime of this movie? Remember the runtime? Is it like over an hour and 30? Hour 40? It's like about an hour 40 minutes. Yeah, hour and 44 minutes, right? Almost 2 hours. It probably could have benefited from an extra 15 minutes, to be honest with you. Especially because once the movie starts, it feels like it jumps into it really quick and is really trying to show you everything really, really fast. And I mean, I get it because most of the Marvel superhero movies that we've had some sort of brief introduction to them prior, whether it be through like one of the Avenger movies or their cameo in another Marvel hero movie, and we kind of get an introduction to them there. This movie is straight up, straight raw, introducing you to a brand new character, giving you a backstory, and then you're starting from scratch with this character. So they did it really fast, and like I said, it might rub people the wrong way. The pacing feels off because of it, and I'm just letting you know that now. That's one of the biggest flaws in this movie is that the pacing was off because it felt rushed. It probably could have needed that extra 15 minutes. It probably could have used the extra 30 minutes. Who knows? But the pacing felt rushed, all right, especially in the third act. Now, another thing that I want to heavily criticize is the CG use. Everybody that comes here, they know how I feel about CGI. I'm not a huge fan of CGI. With that being said, some of the CGI effects were really cool, like the little flying. You guys seen it in the trailer. The jumping around, the little smoke stuff kind of going around him and things like that. That was pretty cool. But then there's other there, and it's crazy because there's other moments where you feel like it could have looked really cool, but the fact that they overdid it with the CGI kind of made it, it made it kind of meh. There's also moments where it feels like it's something from a video game. They take like a POV shot of the character, and it really feels like you're playing like a first-person shooter game at one moment. It gets kind of like, it makes you feel like you're playing a video game, and I don't really like to feel like I'm playing a video game while I'm watching a movie, but, that's neither here nor there. But that's one of my biggest gripes with this movie. Also, why the fuck is Tyrese in this movie? I don't understand why his character was here. He said almost about 5 to 6 words. You could have had anybody do this, and then the way that they have his characters set up, they make it seem like he's really important. And I understand that his character is based off of somebody in Marvel and based off of somebody in the comics, but let's be real. Who gives a shit? Like Tyrese's character was whatever. I could have did without him. It just felt like they put him in the movie just so he got some face time. He was super unnecessary. Him and his little sidekick. Completely unnecessary, and that sometimes they felt like they were only there for comic relief, which honestly wasn't really needed in the movie. Now, the main bad in the movie, which I'm not really going to go into who it is because I don't want to spoil it for you, but I felt like the main bad guy was kind of lackluster. It's kind of using the same format, same blueprint from things like Venom. And I kind of saw that coming from a mile away because I went into this movie not knowing who the villain was going to be. I didn't know who the villain was going to be. So going into this, I was like, okay, there's a high probability that whoever I think is the villain is possibly going to be the villain. And then that's exactly what happens. This movie becomes very predictable. I mean, it's not trying to go over the top and it's not trying to trick you, but sometimes a movie being a little too predictable, it's kind of like, yeah, even my wife leaned over and was like, what's about to happen, right? And I was like, huh? And then like something happened in the movie, and then she was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. She kind of caught it from a mile away, and I kind of saw where they were going to. They leave obvious breadcrumbs while you're watching this movie, and you can't always treat the audience like they need to be escorted somewhere. You get what I'm saying? We don't need to be escorted into the next scene, or we don't need you to connect the dots for us. We're intelligent people watching these movies, and we can figure this out on our own. You don't need to make the audience feel like we're incapable of thinking. So there's one character in the movie, what's his name? Matt. I'm terrible with names. His name is Matt Smith. Matt Smith's character, Loxias Crown, who is based off of a real character in the comic books. I think his name is Hunger. Dumbest name ever, but this is Marvel, so Marvel has a bunch of characters with really stupid names. But anyway, he's based off of a real character, and you'll find out more about his character when you go to the movie theater. But my man looked like Chef Ramsay.
Where's the lamb sauce?
I swear, I'm watching this movie the whole time, and I'm just thinking that he's about to be yelling, where's my bloody risotto? I expected that the whole damn movie. Just looking at his I smell Brussels sprouts fart face destroyed me. Just he was kind of annoying me just by his appearance alone. And then also, we're going back to the CGI. Everybody knows, like I said, I kind of spaced out, but yeah, I'm back on it. Everybody knows I'm not a huge fan of CGI, like at all. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't do makeup, practical effects, prosthetics, or anything on Morbius's or anybody else's character in this movie. That was super fucking disappointing, in my opinion. Super disappointing. I didn't like that everything was all CGI, and it kind of, like I said, it took the realness out of it. Like I love watching 80s movies, and you watch the makeup design and you watch the prosthetics and you watch all of these things, and it gives you that sense that, oh snap, that looks so real. It's almost never when I watch a heavily CGI movie and I'm like, damn, that looks so real. That CGI looks so real. It's rare. It almost never happens. I don't think I've ever watched a movie with CGI and said, damn, that looked real as hell. It's probably almost never happened, right? And this is another movie that does it. I don't do it in this movie. The third act in this movie feels hella rushed. The epic battle, the final fight, it felt rushed. It didn't feel like it was like spaced out correctly. It kind of starts and then ends in an instant, and you really don't feel like there's any you don't feel like there's anything big. Like there's nothing to lose in this fight. It's just there. You know what I mean? I guess it's supposed to be Morbius trying to stop a threat, a huge threat that can possibly be unleashed onto the world. And you don't feel like it. You just feel like he's just fighting somebody who also has superpowers or who also has abilities in order to compete with him. You know, it doesn't feel real, like there's a real threat, like there's any real danger, like at all. And I think that Sony continues to drop the ball. And the next movie that's coming out with Sony, I think is Kraven the Hunter. And this is another sort of anti-hero character who doesn't have like a huge list of villains that go against him, who is also a frequently team up character with Spider-Man and other people. I don't think these are good characters to make solo films about unless you're very passionate about it, and this is something that you really know the direction that you want to go into. Jared Leto is a freaking amazing actor, and he did a really good job as Morbius. I'm going to say that. And for the people that are saying that he didn't, they're fucking bullshitting. They're just being haters. I get it. He played an ugly-ass, dumb-ass, horrible Joker. Okay, I get it. I feel the same way. But at the same time, that's the direction that they told him they wanted his Joker to be. So you got to kind of give it at the 50-50%, you know? But anyway, we're going off that subject. But him as Michael Morbius, he does a really decent job, you know, and regardless of me hating the freaking makeup that reminds me of a certain movie from the 90s. One last kiss. And it's just like, it just takes me out of the movie sometimes. Sometimes the overdone CGI just takes me out of it. Now, this movie does have two post-credit scenes. Are they big post-credit scenes? Not really. Like, I really thought that it was going to be something else because, you know, like, I don't want to even go into it. You know what? I'm going to just go ahead and do like a quick spoiler part at the end of this video so I can actually, like, you know, talk about it. Because I want to talk about it and I don't want to do a separate video about it because I don't want to have two of these videos. So let me go ahead and grade this thing, okay? Here on the Cinema Chop Shop, we grade movies in three ways. Count them three ways. Either you get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell, and I tell you your movie's basura. Or I tell you your movie was meh, which means it's más o menos, mediocre, mid-grade, mid-range, all of that. Or I say you're spared, and I tell you your movie's dope, awesome, everybody go check it out. Buy a ticket right now. Put your ass in one of them seats. I am going to give this movie a big fat meh.
Not quite my tempo.
Not impressed.
But it can be better.
Mediocre.
Meh.
But the TV gave me the impression that...
We said meh. M-E-H. Meh.
And the reason I'm doing that is not because it's a horrible freaking movie, not because it's a bad movie. It's a pretty average movie, but the sucky thing about it is this movie had a lot. And when I say a lot, it has a lot of potential. A lot of untapped potential in this movie that I felt wasn't explored. And the fact that this movie was pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, and they never got it right. I don't know what the hell these people were telling them in these screenings. I don't know what the hell these people were talking about while this movie was being pushed out. But it's like, what the fuck was the point of pushing it if you're still going to have like a product that's pretty mediocre? And that sucks because, like I said, Jared Leto's a great actor. And for you to get a freaking grade A actor like Jared Leto, who went through crazy body transformation in the movie, he went from freaking anorexic bones to like looking pretty decently in shape. That takes some dedication. My man looked buffer than freaking Batman, I'm going to say that. But it's like you have this dude that's a pretty damn dedicated actor, and it's like you're kind of wasting his time. But that's neither here nor there. That's my grade on that. But let me go ahead and get into the spoiler section. So if you have not seen this movie, you might as well want to get the fuck out right now. So you're gone. All right, cool. So spoilers. The two scenes in the movie, the post-credit scenes, they're both involving the Vulture. So apparently when the universe was in Spider-Man, when the multiverse or whatever was being put back together, apparently they took Vulture from Spider-Man's universe and they placed him in Jared Leto's Morbius universe. And the thing about this, I mean, although it's cool, it's like, I don't see how this fits, right? It would have made more sense for a Blade cameo to be in this movie than for it to be in an Eternals movie. Like, Blade cameo in an Eternals movie to me makes almost no fucking sense at all. A Blade cameo in Morbius, though, that makes all the sense in the world. So I find it kind of strange and kind of weird that they put a Vulture cameo in a Morbius movie and then hinted at the possibility of a team up. And if this team up just so happens to eventually being Morbius going against the Vulture, then I'm also going to be kind of annoyed because yet again, here we are. We're in another movie where you have a character where you don't know what to do with them. So you're setting him up against people because he doesn't have somebody that can actually, somebody from his own comic book series that's interesting for him to fight against. Because in this movie, Morbius was just fighting against Morbius, technically speaking. Because the dude, his little homeboy, all he did was he gave that Milo, all he did was give this motherfucker the same stupid treatment that he had. So he was like half bat, half human. And they were both the same damn thing. And it's the same damn thing that happened in Venom. Both Venom 1 and Venom 2. Venom's still fighting against symbiotes. I mean, I don't want to see another Morbius movie with him fighting another vampire. This next movie better be about something completely freaking different or I'm going to lose my shit. Just saying. Also, I was pretty upset because the makeup in the movie, like I said, it reminds me of The Mask. I don't know if you guys have seen them. I know you've seen The Mask. Some of you probably haven't. But at the end, when he's like, "There's always time for a kiss," that scene, this fool's makeup looks exactly like that, and it drives me fucking crazy. It was kind of, well, not makeup, but the CGI looked just like that, and it was driving me crazy. But that soundtrack was banging from Morbius. The color scheme was banging. When he wore the freaking trench coat with the little purple, which was a callback to his old outfit from the comic book series and the Batman animated series. Batman, what the fuck am I talking about? Spider-Man animated series. That was pretty cool. I like that callback. But like I said, it would have made more sense to have a Blade cameo than this. And it's weird because the dude, the main villain, Milo, his freaking character was a Hydra agent in the comic books. So it's kind of funny that in this one, he was like a best friend. I was like also suffering from the same blood disease, but whatever. Like I said, I really think that people are shitting on this movie a lot. and it's unjust because this movie is definitely better than Black Widow. It's fucking better than both the Venom movies. It's better than most of the fucking last X-Men movies that came out. It's better than a lot of the other Marvel projects. And I think if it just had a little bit more time and maybe like they were able to adjust it so that it would benefit the pacing of the movie, it would have been a lot better received. But I feel like them pushing this movie out made people hostile and made people kind of like already coming into this with a negative tone. Oh, I waited a whole 2 years to see this shit. You can just hear it right now. Like, just think about how the way people think. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of people just came into this movie restless and they're not giving it a fair shot. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie. And it's not a good movie. It's a pretty average movie. So, but it could have been better. It could have been a lot better. That third act could have been better. I wish we would have got to see more of Morbius using his little bat ability. That would have been pretty dope. And then his girlfriend obviously getting freaking resurrected. That's also a very big piece to Morbius's puzzle. He's constantly trying to find a cure for not only himself, but also to cure his girlfriend. And this is how he runs in with Blade, and then Blade is constantly trying to kill him or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they're wasting time. Like, why the fuck would you put a Vulture cameo when you could have put Blade in this movie? And why the fuck is Blade in an Eternals? Whatever, man. This is what I'm talking about with Marvel. It feels like Marvel doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They had a perfect opportunity to do a cameo, and they just chose to go the wrong way, which is stupid as shit. But again, it's neither here nor there. So that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are having a magnificent day, and adios.